Well, it's Monday. Here we go. Nobody's here but me. Fun times. All right. Well, since this is the beginning of my week, streaming week, let's get back into this game. We did not quite finish up the Magician's Workshop last week, so we are back at it again this week. This one has been a long one. I can't lie. Lots of things have happened. It's been crazy in the workshop. We are Luca di Firenze, or Luca of Florence, because we are currently in 1512 Florence. The Magician's Workshop is a game by Choice of Games. It's actually a choose your own adventure game. So we are pretty late game. We're starting with chapter 8 the beginning of this week. Although we started with chapter 1 the beginning of last week. I thought we'd get through it in a week because most of these choice of games have allowed us to do so, but the chapters have run really long. The choices have been really intense. So we have not gotten through a lot of it. So this is the stats page, just to remind us where we are at when it comes to everything. Um, so we have a health that's a little over 50%, which is actually doing pretty good. We've had our health higher, but we've also taken hits. Our workshop morale is only 55%, which isn't great, but it's not terrible. We're not below 50%. Below 50% would be worrisome. We're doing okay when it comes to workshop morale. Resources, however, real low, real low. We have 19 soldi at the moment. Soldi is the lowest coin in it's soldi, lira, and florins. So it's 20 soldi to a lira. It is, I believe it said 120 soldi to a florin. You can do the math from there. And we only have 19 soldi. We don't even have a lira to our name at this point. We have been spending it on food, spending it on supplies. We currently have created an iron box on credit, so we will have to pay that back at some point. And we have other things going on. As far as our work is going, we have a fresco that is nearly finished. Would have been finished already had somebody not messed it up on behalf of one of the other of the three apprentices who are in charge. Luca is one, Piero and Fiammetta are the other two, and Fiammetta decided that because we were not quite as friendly with her, not quite as honest with her, she had some people go mess up our fresco. It is not so badly it was not so badly damaged that we couldn't fix the damage, but we were not able to finish it because of this. We also have the machine that we are um, being demanded to build for a supernatural creature, and we have not even begun work on that, but that is probably what we will be doing today. Not gonna lie. um, Commissions. We have out of the five, well, technically six secret commissions, the machine being one of them, that we have discovered since the workshop master has unfortunately died. Um, it was assumed that he was murdered, but perhaps it was accidental death. We have learned that it might, in fact, have been accidental death. However, we have chosen three of those to work. We have finished the magic purse for Lucrezia de Medici. We have finished the vault for Dangerous Clement. Um, we have not even started on the weapon for Alfonsina Orsini. And we have not started on the machine. We are not in the best of relationships with Alfonsina Orsini, as the even though she is a member of the Medici family, we have finished one Medici project, not both of them. Um, and hers doesn't look like it's going to be worked on at all either. So she's going to be mad. And there's not much we can do about it. We were given way too many things to get done in a far too small time. As for magic stats, we have gone pretty much all in on alchemy. We dabble in animation, and our soothsaying is not so great, even though our mother was a soothsayer. As for our skills, we are very reasoned. We are solidly reasoning. Um, we have some artistry and dexterity, a tiny bit of guile, but our confidence and strength are not great. They're not bad, but they're not great. As far as our traits go, we are we are adaptable, very charming, a little bit cautious, solidly of goodwill, faith, and order. As for our relationships, now you can see the full thread of relationships that we have here. We started out with just a tiny list, and they've just been adding on. Piero likes us a little bit more than Fiammetta, but we're still fairly okay with both of them. Andrea is, well, I like to call them middle management, but they are actually just a model for the workshop that basically works with everybody. Um, They are not the happiest with us because they tried to hit on us and we went, "No, you're not it." Stella de Firenze is our mother. As you can see, we are on the outs again with mom. We were neutral, we were okay with her, and then we had to not be happy with her again. Or rather, she's not happy with us. Giovanni de Medici is the Cardinal of Florence. He has just returned to power in Florence very recently, and we have impressed him quite a bit. So he likes us fairly solidly. In fact, he's the one who likes us the best out of everybody. Oh, almost the best out of everybody. Niccolo Machiavelli is a family friend, and he's a little bit fond of us. Dangerous Clement, which is both one of our secret, one of the secret clients, but also someone we have been flirting with, is a little bit fond of us, but only a little bit. Our flirting has not helped us raise that at all. The Monticello is a being of shadows and secrets, and we have been, oh hey Trav, welcome. I'm just going over the stats, so if you've missed anything, tell me to scroll up. But yeah, we have been trying to stay on the Monticello's good side. We are probably going to be working on the machine, which is what he commissioned, or it commissioned, not entirely certain which. And yeah, he shows up a lot, actually. He's kind of creepy. Conrad is originally a German who was sent to Florence by his aunt to go to school and has been here ever since. We've been childhood friends. We're now getting into the point where we're like, Conrad, yes. And he is the other person that we've been flirting with quite heavily. Alfonsina Orsini is married into the Medici family. Her husband was exiled along with the cardinal for a time, and they're both back. She is not happy with us. Not the least happy with us, but not happy with us. And she's going to get even unhappier. So, yay, us. Lucrezia de Medici, of course, likes us, is a bit fond of us, and we finished her commission. So, she's going to like us a lot more eventually. Henrique of the Congo, we're in neutral terms with. We've been better and worse with him, but he came to Florence to study religion. He is hoping to go back as a priest for his and he is a prince of the Congo, but he wishes to he wishes to bring back a flying machine to his father, but we decided to decline his secret commission. And then Judah Leon Abravanel, which is actually a known person to our mother, also had a secret commission of a pen, but we've decided to decline on that one too. Not that we've told him yet, but you know. He wanted to know more about the Monticello, and we were like, go ask our mom. So he has been fonder of us, but he's not very happy with us either. So we're mostly on the positives. Anything 50% or higher is a positive. Um, but yeah, we've got some work to do. As for our reputation, not just the reputation of the workshop, our reputation. We have earned a slight bit of respect from the Medici family in total and the confraternity, which We'll be deciding who takes over the workshop in the near future. We have had a better respect from the people, but we're not bad there either. However, we have been late. We have been stupid. We have not impressed the rest of the workshop, even though we are being rather impressive with what we're getting done. So yeah, the workshop respect, we had it at a neutral 50% and we've taken a hit to it again. So here we are. This is the stats as we have them. We're still the most charming person ever who's fairly reasoned in it and an alchemist by trade, basically. As for achievements, we've only found two. We have revealed all the symbols on the mysterious note from the Monsiello, and we have gotten a good start on the fresco by getting over half of it done in a single morning. But that's all we've been able to do. Everything else has been not something we've done. So here we are at chapter 8, Dawn over Florence. Conrad showed up in the late evening after the Medici party that we went to last time and wants to go out for a drink. So we've decided to join him. He's having a heck of a day. Look as you pause at the bottom of the stairs. I can't sleep, he says. Thanks for coming out with me, Luca. It'll be a distraction if nothing else. You put a hand on his shoulder. So, how do we respond to Luca? Do we put on a hand on his cheek tenderly and say things will get better? Do we say sleep is for the boring? Let's see what wonders Florence has to show us tonight. Or do we say you seem to have a great deal on your mind? So I believe it's the flirt option, the fun option, or the friend option. What do we do? Trav, who's pretty much the only person in my chat right now, has decided to go with the flirt option, and I agree. Flirting it is. He puts a hand over yours and rests his cheek in your palm. Do you really think so? Is it the tension between Alfonsina and Lucrezia or something more? That's it, and it's enough. Well, on its own, it's not the end of the world, but it's just a symptom of a bigger problem. In a few years, I suspect the question for everyone won't just be whether you support the Medici or someone else, but which Medici you support. A few years? I have enough to worry about between now and Michaelmas. In the meantime, what did you have planned for tonight? No plans, Conrad said a little glumly. Just somewhere with conversation and a bit of wine. The Hole, if you're up for it, or the Mercury or the Olive Branch. It's long past sunset now, which means it's long past curfew. Curfew isn't strictly enforced most of the time, not lately, but it still isn't wise to flout it too openly. You could be fined, and any other crime from vandalism to assault carries double fines at night. The Mercury has the benefit of being accessible through back alleys where you're unlikely to encounter anyone who can give you a fine. It's not just a tavern, though. The current owner demands that the patrons play cards, and there's a maximum of 60 soldi just to play. Of course, that also means you could make a little money there. The Olive Branch means walking through major public streets for several minutes, putting you at risk of any oversealess patrols, but once you're there, it's a safe place with excellent food and a license to sell the best wine. It also attracts the philosophers and writers in Florence. The owner there owes you money, so this could be your opportunity to get that back. The Hole is close to the workshop, has an unmarked door, and is in a deep cellar, which makes it safe from the law. It also makes it a den of criminals and ruffians, not all of whom are likely to care that Dangerous Clement is your friend. Sometimes you've been able to make a quick coin there, doing a quick bit of interesting or unusual magic, or repair for those who can't do such business above ground. So, do we go to the Mercury and play some cards, knowing that we don't have the soldi to buy in? Do we go to the Olive Branch for some good food, good company, and hopefully gain some money back from a debt repaid? Or do we go to the Hole to make a little money, hear the latest rumors, and stay below ground? One, two, or three, Mercury, Olive Branch, or Hole? You guys tell me, chat, please. It is very hard for me to make decisions. That's why I have you. Which bar shall we go to? I do not recommend the Mercury, primarily because we don't have the money to play cards. Um, at the end of chapter 7, uh, Conrad asked us to come out with him. So at the beginning of chapter 8, we go out with him. That's you didn't miss it. It was more implied than anything else. Um, Conrad was like, "Hey, come out and drink with me. I can't sleep." So that's why we're going out. Now, we don't have to necessarily spend money, but the Mercury probably, if we still had our money, our if we still had money or had made money earlier, we probably could play some cards and actually make a decent sum of money. The olive branch, we will likely end up not paying anything for food or drinks because somebody owes us money. We may or may not get our debt repaid, but we will, at the very least, probably get free food, because the owner owes us money. And the whole just means that we will have the option to spend money, but we will also have the option to make money. So, um, I'm not particularly, uh, I don't know the story because this is still my first blind run, but 2 and 3 are our best bets. 1 is we don't have enough to play cards unless Conrad is willing to cover us. So yes, 2 is high risk of getting caught. Um, the hole is closer and easier and safer, and still has the possibility of making money. Um, we don't have the guile necessarily to get to the olive branch, but at the same time, the owner owes us money, so we might be able to like get free money essentially. Um, it is what it is. What do you think, Trav? What should we do? One, 2, or 3? Mercury, olive branch, hole. You tell me. But it's for our bestie slash love interest Conrad. So 2 or 3 are better bets. Like 1, we don't have the money for. So 3 does have a chance of getting stabbed. Yes. That's not true. We might get to the olive branch. It's just a matter of, we also might get caught on the way there or back again. It's fine. It doesn't matter. We're charming enough that we can talk our way out of anything. Come on. What are we doing, Trav? What are we doing? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. All right, we'll try to charm the lowlifes and hope that our friend Andrews Clement is enough to keep the problems at bay. One can only hope. The alleyways that take you to the hole are too small to have names and too small to merit a patrol by the city guard. A rat scuttles across your path in the shadows, and you and Conrad both laugh. You realize that Conrad grabbed your arm and is still holding it, and you're close together in the darkness, alone, together. Conrad puts a hand to your cheek and leans in close. Ooh, spicy. There's something about nighttime in Florence that makes you feel as though anything is possible. The gold of sunlight deepens into the older, richer gold of torches, lanterns, and candles. The shadows are deeper outside those circles of light. It makes the city look like a different place, as though you all step into fairyland or some other world at sunset and emerge again in the morning, and nobody says a word about it. You know that those shadows are where the Monticello lives and moves, but they are your domain too. The secrets and shadows of the city are not its shame, or at least not all of them are. Secrets and shadows are where lovers close out the rest of the world for a moment. They're where appearances drop away and honesty rises up, where human beings confront their fears and make their best choices. There are monsters in the darkness, but there is also sweet whispers and possibilities we can only see in dreams. This is what you think as you turn to Conrad. This is your night, and only you can decide what you want it to be. So, do we kiss Conrad? Do we embrace Conrad like a friend quickly and move on? Or do we pull him forward saying we should keep going? So, the flirt option, the friend option, or the friend zone option? Uh, Personally, I'm all for one. We have only been romancing two out of the possible, I think, five people that we could have romanced. So this Conrad is one of them, and we have the highest rapport with him. So honestly, I think we should just kiss him. Of course, if Dangerous Clement comes into the bar, we're gonna have problems, but that's for future Luca to worry about. Uh, you want to just be a friend with Conrad? You just be a friend with Conrad? What will Winterfairy think? I'm gonna kiss him. Sorry, Trav. I'm kissing him. It's a soft, brief kiss in a dark alley. What's the fine for kissing after curfew? You start to laugh thinking of it, and Conrad laughs too, and you stay for a moment laughing, foreheads touching. Everything's quiet here, despite the sounds of laughter in some nearby alley. The moment lasts forever, and then you pull apart and move away. The hole is at the bottom of a dead end alley with only one way in, and it's very narrow and dark. Not only is the door to the hole not marked, but it hardly merits being called a door at all. Someone has performed some alchemy on it so that it blends in with the rest of the building. You pull on a bit of knotted rope, thinking it's the handle, but it comes out in your hand. It was only plugging a knothole. There's probably a password, Conrad says. Do you know what it is? If I did, I would have said it by now. You don't happen to know these people. Hey, Dragon! Welcome in, welcome in. We kissed Conrad, by the way. The shadows in the alley deepen suddenly as a group of three people stand in the entrance and block out what little lamplight bleeds from the nearby streets. You see several glints of that light catch on those figures in very specific ways. Several shining eyes, a curve of a tooth, one gleam on a knife edge. They chuckle low and deep. Yeah, I know, about time, right? The only way away from them is into the hole. But to do that, you'll have to get the door open. You try to open it with an animation spell, but whatever magician put the password on seems to have thought of that. It resists your efforts. The same is true for alchemy. You can't melt the wood or burn it or turn it into aspic, or no matter how hard you concentrate. You need that password. So, do we reason out the password? Do we try our soothsaying skills to help glean it from the wood itself? Or guessing a password requires creativity? Will our artistry help us come at the problem from a new side? Reason is our highest skill, soothsaying is our lowest skill, and artistry is up there, but still not quite as high as reason. So, one, two, or three, chat. Reason, soothsaying, or artistry? What are we using to get through this boarded door? Please tell me. Tell me what we're doing. Trav says reason. Dragon says soothsaying, even though it is our lowest stat. You sure about that, Dragon? Reason is our highest stat. Soothsaying is our lowest stat. Artistry is second highest. One of. Then I'm gonna choose reason because I know how these games work. I don't want to fail here and get stabbed. You think for a moment. A good password would have to be something somewhat unusual, something that no one would be likely to say casually in the alley. One doesn't want the door opening by accident. A word that common criminals can remember, but also a word that a magician would think of. You whisper the word, and a line of blue light appears around the outline of the door, and it swings inward. You and Conrad dash through, trying to close it behind you against the thugs with the knife, but the danger seems to be over. The fact that you were able to open the door to the hole seems to mark you as one of their own, and the thugs politely walk in behind you. What was the word? Conrad whispers, sounding impressed as you walk through the dark corridor that leads to the hole. It was it pomegranate, wand, or summoning? Trav votes for pomegranate. 1, 2, or 3. Pomegranate, wand, or summoning. Dragon goes for wand. All right. This time I will side with dragon. We are going wand. A common enough word, but one associated with magicians. In the hole. Wand in the hole. Oh my. Um The hole is so dark that you can't see much other than shadows. You and Conrad find a tiny, unoccupied table, and a woman brings you drinks, offering you a dubious, thick wine. To adventure, says Conrad, holding the cup. It may be all we have left. There's a scuffle at the table next door, and a man goes flying across the room before being escorted out by the same young woman who brought your drinks. After that, after that commotion dies down, a small figure in a cloak approaches your table. As the light falls on the face, you see it's Ana de Rojas, a Spanish trickster who's lived in Florence for years, making a living by swindling old bishops and defrauding matrons. She stands about 4 feet tall, and her green eyes flash as she takes in you and your companion. You don't come to the hole often, she says. Do you have business here tonight? Conrad shakes his head. Our only business is to forget our troubles. Troubles have a way of turning up just when you thought you'd lost them, like bad coins, she says, and pulls an empty chair over to sit with you. But I may have something that and I'd be willing to pay. Indeed, dragon, indeed. Conrad, I know you know about rich people, the way they gossip, all that garbage. And Luca, you must be a half decent magician, or the master would have thrown you out since you're a nobody otherwise. It's not the most glowing praise you've ever received. You and Conrad exchange small smiles. What do you need, Signora? Conrad asks. I need to change the content of a rumor, one that is already swirling through the streets of the city like offal in the sewers. You want to disprove it? She shakes her head. No, just to tweak it a little around the edges, change its target slightly. I'll pay you a lira here tonight if you can do it. There is no magic that you know of that can change the contents of anyone's mind. Animation brings tangible objects or bodies to life. Alchemy changes the character of substances. Thoughts are, by their nature, intangible and insubstantial, and soothsaying is the only way to catch a fleeting sight of them. They change their character a moment after, transmuted by alchemy into something new. And that gives you a thought. Eureka. Uh oh. Running through the sewers, you murmur. Hmm? Conrad laughs nervously. What have you got planned? Not the sewers, you say, grabbing his arm in excitement. The conduits, the ones that carry water to the fine houses. A potion of forgetting mixed in the water, and a potion of suggestibility. Just a drop, and then a vision. No, a dream, or so people will think. An animation that fits their own lives, their own experiences, so well that they'll believe it must have been a dream. Ana de Rojas laughs. I had a feeling you'd come up with something. So will you do it? So, our response can be changing the thoughts in people's heads is unkind and disrespectful, which is the no option. Deceit is an affront to God, which is the faithful no option. Or visions. I've always wanted to work with visions, the stranger the better, which is the yes option. Dragon has already voted for 3. Polite no, faithful no, or yes. Absolutely yes. 1, 2, or 3. What does chat decide? I think 3 is the eccentric option, yes. We are charming, not eccentric. This will, um, throw down our charm, possibly. But we have a ton of it, so that may not be that big a deal. I don't know. 1, 2, or 3? Trav says 2. We should faithfully say no. Dragon still wants 3. Um, it's money, Trav. That's the thing. She's willing to pay us a lira right now and probably a lira later as well if we can do this. Am I willing to take the hit to charm? Yes. Actually, I am because we desperately need the money. I'm doing it. Well, hmm, you have a point. It's not the deceit is an affront to God is not necessarily a no. It's a hey, it's a negotiation. Great. But do we think we can pull off the negotiation? That's the thing. I don't watch the anime Dragon. um you know what? We're gonna try the deceit is an affront to God and see if we can get more money. It's your fault if we don't get paid, Trev. I agree, Ana de Rojas says. So in that case, show them the truth. The rumor is a false one, planted about my daughter by Giuliano de Medici. He was caught with her in a gondola in Venice, and he told people she used magic to bewitch him. The truth was quite the other way around. He seduced her and made her false promises. I know it's the truth, both because my daughter is honest and because I have certain ways of finding out what is true and what is not. So, you want me to show people what actually happened? Why would they believe that it's not just an illusion? People believe what they see in dreams, or at least it plants a seed of doubt. Show them the possibilities and let them judge what is true and what is not. This sounds like it will need animation, alchemy, and soothsaying all at once, says Conrad, ever the negotiator. They deserve more than a lira for that. We'll see, de Rojas replies, tenting her fingers. Much will depend on whether you're a well rounded magician enough to draw on all 3 skills. The question is, have you the guts to do something like this? Before? Or are you too stuck in your old ways to process and old ways and processes? So, are we a well rounded magician? Our skills will carry us through. Are we bold, confident, and adaptable? Who needs skills? Or I may not have all 3 skills or all 3 qualities, but I have enough of each. True. Yeah, we're not well rounded. um, bold, confident, and adaptable. Well, we don't have the confidence, but we do, and we don't have the boldness, but we do have the adaptability. However, we might be able to get through it anyway. I actually think 3 might be the best bet. So, it looks like chat is agreeing with me that I may not have all 3 skills or all 3 qualities, but I have enough of each to get me through. We will attempt anyway. Has anyone got a clothespin, you ask? There's some quizzical looks, but this is the whole. Nobody asks questions here. Somebody produces a clothespin and you put it on the table. Now I just need a bit of salt, a bit of wine, a bit of sawdust, some garlic, and a bit of silver scraped off a coin that's been in someone's shoe, and a mortar and pestle. Ana de Rojas bustles and rustles in the back of the room and returns with what you need. The potion for forgetting is the simplest there is, a bit of salt and wine with a few incantations. The trick is that when you pour this into the conduit, you must think of the thing you wish people to forget. But since you only want them to forget a little around the edges, I'll use only a little salt. The Spanish woman nods. As for the suggestibility, this is a powder, you say, grinding the remaining ingredients in the mortar. Throw that in afterwards, concentrating on what you want people to believe. And the clothespin? Is that for my nose so I don't have to smell this concoction? In reply, you murmur to the clothespin, and it takes form like a little man, which bows to her. This clothespin has become a soothsaying dream dancer. Tell this creature to perform in the dreams of every citizen in Florence, and it will go from house to house, acting out events particular to each person's dream. Then everyone will wake up believing something they didn't quite believe when they went to bed. Genius, says Conrad, clapping his hands. We'll see about that, Ana de Rojas responds, and pulls a small glass ball out of her clothing and peers at it. It's cloudy and cracked. You're not sure about your work. You're fairly well trained, and you do your best when it comes to displaying the qualities the master tried to instill in you. Will it be good enough? You can see the future? Sometimes. And I can see enough today to tell me that your attempt has not succeeded, but it's a start, and I can ask a better magician to finish it. Here, take 8 soldi and count yourself lucky. You take the coins and thank her. Hey, we didn't have to pay for any of the materials, so I suppose that's good enough. Conrad pays for the food and drink. The two of you spend the rest of the evening talking about the Medici family's internal politics. Well, so much as early morning. The night is wearing on, and you will have to leave soon if you want to get any sleep before the workday begins. I need you to give me some advice, Luca, says Conrad finally. Between Lucrezia and Alfonsia, which one would you work for? It's clear I can't serve two masters any longer. If you advise Conrad one way or the other, you could anger Alfonsina or Lucrezia. But this is your best friend coming to you for advice. You have to say something. Oh, dragon. Let's be honest, it's more than tempted. So, why not leave both and go out on your own? You're amazing and I believe in you. Work for Alfonsina. She won't stop until she has all the power, so get on her good side. Power is all that matters. Work for Lucrezia. She uses persuasion and politics. Those are your talents, and the future lies in democracy. Keep playing both sides. Now is a time for caution, or you'll have to make up your own mind, Conrad. I have no advice for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Both Alfonsina, Lucrezia. I'm sorry, neither Alfonsina, Lucrezia, both, or you decide. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. I don't blame you there. It could be garbage gameplay. Dragon says, keep playing both sides. Caution, caution. And we have become a cautious person. So that might be the best answer to give our dear friend Conrad. I personally like Lucrezia better. But that is the democracy route, and we like order. So that's an interesting thing. Alfonsina does not like us. But she is the ordered option. Telling Conrad to leave both of them probably makes him safer-ish, but he might have to leave Florence because of it. Or we could just tell him that he has to figure it out. Dragon has already voted for 4. Trav, do you agree or disagree? I mean, we can take a hit to our ordered. That's fine. I mean, we haven't really been for the democracy this whole run, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we can't be on occasion. Are you guys leaving it up to me? Like, really? I would play this by myself if I wanted it all left up to me. That was a given, Dragon. There was a succubus involved. Yeah, when the stakes are higher. Yeah, we kind of like Lucrezia, regardless of the fact that she's kind of for the democracy. We like her better. I'm gonna go with 3 as well. I suppose you're right, says Conrad. All right, I have some projects I have to finish first, but in a few days I'll tell Alfonsina I can't work for her. You can only hope that you've made the right choice. It won't be without consequences, but that can wait until tomorrow, which, by the sunlight glancing through the window, is beginning. One effect of the curfew is that places like this stay open all night. This is your last chance to work on the fresco. Andrea is not booked for it tomorrow. One more session would finish the fresco if you work quickly and win the respect of the people of Florence. If you choose, though, you can leave the fresco unfinished, which would give you time to supervise 2 sessions of work on commissions today. You're running out of chances to build the machine. You need 2 sessions on it, either today or tomorrow. You've already finished the purse for Lucrezia de Medici. The vault for Dangerous Clement is finished. You have to start the weapon for Alfonsina Orsini. So, do we begin working on the weapon? Do we start working on the machine? Do we just finish the fresco? Or do we take the morning off because there's nothing we want to do? Um, Number 4 is highly incorrect. So, essentially, ignoring the fresco means that we can get either the weapon or the machine done in a day and half of one of them done later. Assuming we ignore the fresco entirely for the next 2 days, we might be able to get both the weapon and the machine finished. However, finishing the fresco will up our reputation with the people of Florence, which is kind of important. So what do we do? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Weapon, machine, fresco, or nothing? 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'll take keywords or numbers or both. What do you guys think we should do? Dragon says work on the weapon. That's an option. Trav, what do you think? Three, let's finish it. We've put a lot into it. We need the payoff. Also, the more things we finish, the better. Yeah, no, I agree. I think we should just finish the fresco and then we don't have to worry about it anymore. Um, in this case, Dragon, I know you've missed quite a bit of the story. If we finished the weapon, it would definitely be money. Alfonsina Orsini has offered us 3 florins to finish it. Lucrezia de Medici, 3 florins to finish the purse. Dangerous Clement, 3 florins to finish the vault. We've got 2 out of the 3 already finished. We have 6 florins coming in at the very least. However, I'm not sure entirely if the Monticello will be paying us for the machine, but it has demanded that we finish it or death. Um, and the fresco, of course, will help us with our reputation, and we need a higher reputation as much as possible so that we can possibly end up in charge of the workshop. Like that's kind of the ultimate goal here. So, yeah, once it's done, it won't matter if someone sabotages it, but if it gets trashed before we're done, it's our problem. So, yeah, what Trav says. I'm actually going to go with finishing the fresco. I think that's our smartest choice here. Honestly speaking, I think finishing the fresco is a good idea. So we're going to go with that. Conrad walks with you to the Piazza di Santa Croce. Croci? I'm not entirely sure because my Italian is non-existent. And greets Andrea, who is already there with the cart of painting supplies. Out all night? Andrea asks with a smile. Getting too old for this, you reply, clutching your head. Nonsense, Conrad says, and kisses you briefly on the cheek in farewell. Aw. Conrad says goodbye, leaving you with Andrea. As you're running short on time, you'll do the final bits of work using the Secco technique. You fill in bits of the picture with surface level paint, asking Andrea to strike a pose every so often. Every excellent painter excels in a different way, the master used to say. Some are good at working with models. Their good humor, charm, and soothsaying allow them to work as a team. Other painters are geniuses with their hands, the kind of painter the master used to call confident liars. Then there are the geniuses of the mind, the artists and animators who bring their work to life before they even dip their brushes. The key to any artistic endeavor is to know yourself as an artist. If you know how you work, you'll be able to use your strengths. If you don't yet understand yourself, you can't reach your full potential. As you try to finish this fresco in time, what sort of painter do you think you are? Are we the kind with good humor, charm, and soothsaying? Well, we've got good humor and charm, the soothsaying, not so much. Are we geniuses of our hands, which is artistry and dexterity, I believe? Actually, maybe not. The confident liars? Or are we artistic animators? First, second, or third? One, two, or three? Dragon says three. I'm inclined to agree. Trav, what do you think? Are we the first kind of paint of artist, the second kind, or the third kind? We can check the numbers. So the first kind is humor, charm, and soothsaying. So soothsaying, low. Good, decent. Charm, stupid. The second one is confident liars. Geniuses with their hands, the kind of painter called confident liars. So dexterity, pretty good. Confidence, not so good. Guile, low. And then the third kind is animation and artistry. Possibly adaptability. So I think three might be our best, but one might be okay. What do we think? One, two, or three? It looks like everyone says three. Have we changed our mind now that we've checked the stats? Do we want to pick two then? We are good with our hands. Yes, yes, we are. Assuming I got the actual stats correct, because this is a little bit dubious on that. But all right, we're going number two just because Trav is good with numbers and I trust him. You work quickly, too quickly. Mistake until you find yourself working with a brush in one hand and a trowel for scraping in the other. It's enough, just barely, with no time to spare, but it's enough. You stand back and survey the scene on the wall. The painting seems to come to life, and only part of that is the animation. A scene of struggle and joy, of competence and competition. It stands bright and fresh on the plaster. The fresco is complete at last. Andrea nods. I'm glad it's done. Do you like it? It's wonderful to see myself in so many postures, although no one would ever know that they're all me. In some way, I think I see it in my dreams. From Andrea, that's a compliment. The painting seems not only to be alive in some deep manner of its own, something more than the magic of the spells you put into it. It gives life to the city, too. This is a gift to the people, and as you prepare to sign your name in the still soft plaster, you know that people will love you for it. A few generations ago, an artist attached to a workshop would have been less likely to sign their work at all, since everything was a joint effort. There is still some of that spirit in the workshop, although your generation also wants to celebrate the individual artist. Every piece that leaves the workshop bears its mark. A squat isosceles triangle pointing upwards, a reference to the pediment of the nearby cathedral. You paint that triangle at the bottom right of the fresco. Above it, you will leave your own mark as an individual. You sign it with an illegible but recognizable scrawl, our initials, or a symbol. Trav has already voted for a symbol. Alchemy, yo. One, two, or three. Scroll, initials, symbol. What shall it be, chat? What shall it be? We're going with a symbol. Nice. Your mark is one that means a lot to you and does the practical job of identifying you even to people who can't read it. Is it a monogram made of my initials in the shape of a box, a hand holding a globe with the continents sketched in, or a swan, king of birds, symbol of purity and beauty? A box, a globe, or a swan? One, two, or three. Dragon says swan. Does Trav agree? That is the question. I do not disagree, Trav, but it is what it is. So I guess we're going with the swan, the king of birds, purity and beauty. You practiced strokes. You suggest the head, the neck, and the body of the swan. It's your private reminder to yourself to always look to nature, to the beauty of the world, when your own brain and body seems exhausted. Now the people of your city will know that you have created this for them, this celebration of excellence, being competition, of indomitable fortitude, this celebration of Florence. Lunchtime at the workshop is always noisy. Today it's strangely quiet. Everyone's exhausted, I'll bet happily so, and there's only one day left before the deadline for the commissions. You're exhausted after you didn't bring any food for yourself. Workshop selling food out of 2 copper pots. Will we not eat now and save our money? Will we buy some of that lampredado in broth for 3 soldi? Our mother always said cow stomach was nutritious. Will we vegetable barley pottage, which is just healthful for 3 soldi, or for 1 soldi we'll get a bit of bread. It won't sustain us for long, but it's cheap. Dragon, you're funny. Beastmasters, no. So are we? Let's see how much money we have. We have a lira and 7 soldi because we did make a little bit of money. So, we could eat cow stomach, we could eat pottage, or we could eat bread to save our money. So 1, 2, 3, or 4. Save, cow, pottage, bread. Dragon says 2. What do you think, Trav? A bit concerned about indigestion. I mean, the bread will help sop up all that, all the drink we had last night. Although we did eat with it, so. I believe these 2 are upping our health. 2 and 3 are upping our health up quite a bit more. 1 will up our health only a little bit, and or I should say 4 will up our health only a little bit, and then 1 will not up our health at all. Well, I don't know if we necessarily got drunk, but we certainly had a little bit of a hangover. We went out to we spent all night in a bar last night with our bestie slash romance option, Conrad. He paid for food and drinks, so we didn't have to. I think he makes more money than us too. So, chat, what are we doing? What are we eating? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Save, cow, pottage, bread. Still 3. Okay. So it's between 2 and 3. I'm gonna go for 3. We're gonna go for the vegetarian option. There's something to be said for eating like a monk. Some of them seem to live forever. A group of young new apprentices is sitting in a corner, and you join them. They are not members of the 3 core teams. They're so junior that they spend their time fetching for the older apprentices or preparing materials. They look more exhausted than anyone. As you sit down, their conversation halts and they look uncomfortable. If you can get them talking, they might tell you something you can use tomorrow when you, Fiammetta, and Piero consult the workshop on their choice for the next master. So, are we blending in using our empathy? After all, I remember what it was like to be them. Do we blend in using our natural talent for adapting to any situation? Or do we use our natural authority to steer the conversation? Empathy. I mean, we have charm, we have adaptability. Not really sure what they're using for empathy. Probably goodwill. We do have goodwill. We have adaptability. I'm not sure. I think confidence, maybe. Humanism, not entirely certain, are what is tagged to natural authority. I think it's humanism, yeah. So 3 is not going to go well, but 1 or 2 probably will work. 2 is definitely adaptability, which we do have. Hold on. Let's see. Our adaptability is 59%, but our goodwill is 64. So empathy is I believe goodwill, which means that that's the highest one. 2 is adaptability, which is our second highest, and then 3 would be humanism, which is our lowest. We are not very humanistic. So it also could be order. Yeah, I suppose 3 could be order, which we do have a decent order as well, 66%, I believe. So I still believe that number 1 is our best bet, but it could be wrong. 1, 2, or 3, chat. I don't think we're going to have a fail. 1, 2, or 3. The authority. 1, 2, or 3. Which shall we do? One, because I'm a ninja. You might be a ninja, but Luca de Firenze is not a ninja. Trav also says 1, so we're gonna try empathy and see what happens. It's been a rough few days. Some of the roughest I can remember. You say with a collegial but weary smile. Has it ever been like this before? Asked the young woman with so much uncertainty. You think back to your early days in the workshop. Not like this, not exactly. The master was always there, always leading us. We had him as our lodestar. But there was uncertainty in other ways. Once, soon after I came, the workshop ran out of money entirely, and the debt collectors were here every day for a week, taking away our gold leaf and anything else they could carry. We had to finish a painting of the Madonna, and with no gold leaf, we had to use yellow paint. They chuckle. You've put them at ease. Is that what way is that what's weighing on your minds most these days? You ask casually. The uncertainty. They all nod. That's good to know. You say, we'll do our best to change that. They all exhale. You didn't have a chance to work on a commission this morning, but the afternoon is ahead of you still, and Team Mandrake needs its orders. This is your second to last work session before the deadline. So, the weapon, the machine, or calling it a day? I do not suggest option 3. Now, Pros of doing the weapon. We work on the weapon, we ignore the machine, the Monticello destroys us, but at the very least we don't piss off any of the Medici. Or we start working on the machine, we ignore Alfonsina Orsini, who already doesn't like us, and the Monticello does not destroy us. Trav says, get this weapon out of the way. I mean, that does mean that we make more money. However, we do not. Getting the machine done means that a very dangerous entity is not hunting for our head. Our options here is piss off somebody important or piss off somebody supernatural. Or both. We could just piss them both off. So Trav says 1. Dragon, do you agree? Are we going for the weapon and just hoping the Monticello is nice? Okay. Weapon it is. Alfonsina Orsini wants a weapon that can remove soldiers from castle walls. Remove, not knock off, possibly, if the wind is right. Not wound, possibly fatally and possibly not. Remove. You are no soldier, but you do know that blows hit hardest when they come from nearby. When the very foundation under your feet seems less certain than you thought. And you are animators, after all. You don't need to create something that will wreak havoc from afar. You can affect the very stones in the walls under the soldiers' feet. Animation does have its limits. The magician has to be able to see the thing they're animating. And in this case, you need a weapon that will work, that will perform an animation, even if there's no magician at hand. So what you need is an object, small but sturdy and quick, that can reach an enemy's wall, deliver a delayed animation spell, and either disappear or return to its wielder. No small task. Any ideas, you ask your team? The brainstorm. Hey, Winter Fairy! Just FYI, we did kiss Conrad earlier. You missed it, so you'll have to catch the VOD later to see the part where we kissed Conrad. No, a boomerang. Trav, you're funny. Yes. We could make a flying device that lands on top of the wall, says Luigi. Like a bird? Francesca asks. Like a dragon, Luigi responds, but not spraying fire. The client asked for the soldiers to be removed, not injured or killed. Removed. It could spray an enchanted powder to affect the stone. Or we could make something that climbs up the wall like a spider, says Francesca, and spins a web to affect the stones. What about not making it a device at all? Angelo says thoughtfully. What if we use a catapult to scatter seeds that would grow vines on the walls very quickly? Imagine you're attacking the castle and you use the vines to bump the soldiers off the walls successfully, you say, thinking out loud. Then you take over the castle, and now there are vines all over the walls. Dead vines, possibly, but vines. And vines could be damaging, a pain to remove. Peeling silk thread off the wall would be a pain too, Francesca says, whereas with Luigi's idea, the rain would wash the powder away eventually. True, says Luigi, but both your ideas do have the virtue of being cheaper than mine, I'd think. You grab a bit of chalk and start making calculations on a tabletop. The cost. The dragon-like device will need iron and leather, and some sort of solve immediately if it's raining. Iron filings ought to do it. That will cost 18 soldi. The spider will need iron and some silk thread for the web. 12 soldi ought to do it. The vines will need seeds and wood for the catapult. 8 soldi. You don't keep seeds in the workshop, so you'd have to spend at least 4 soldi for the vine option. But at least it would diminish your supplies less than the dragon or spider. The storeroom has a few bits and things, but not enough for the bird or spider. You have a lira and 4 soldi at the moment, which is 24 soldi, all told. If you can't make up what you need from the supplies on your own purse, you'll have to go into debt. But the less expensive options might please Alfonsina less. Which style would you choose? So, dragon, spider, vines. 1, 2, or 3. I'll take numbers or keywords. You tell me. Uh, dragon votes on dragon. This is obvious. Obvious decision is obvious. Yes, dragon, but you're not the only one who gets to vote. Winterfairy says vines, which makes Trav the tiebreaker unless he picks spider, in which case it's me that's the tiebreaker and you guys get guilt tripped. What's it gonna be, chat? 1, 2, or 3? Dragon, spider, vines. It's just a little. It's just a whittle speeder. It's just a whittle speeder. It's fine. Depends, Trav. It really depends. I mean, yes, it could get broken, but then they'd just make another one. Uh, yeah. It's just as easy to whap a spider, so you know. Well, the ones have it, so we're going with the dragon. Dragons for dragon. How will we pay for the materials? Will we use our supplies? Will we pay the 18 soldies or will we borrow the 18 soldi? We have enough to outright pay for it. We also have supplies that are dangerously low. Um, it's 1, 2, or 3. Supplies, pay, borrow. Winter Fairy says pay. Just pay it because we got the money. What does the rest of chat think? Supplies, pay, or borrow? 1, 2. What will we do, chat? What will we do? Dragon also says 2. Trav was tempted to use the supplies so that we have some money for the inevitable extra costs. Well, yeah, we could always go into debt later, though. The 2s currently have it. So no matter what you think, Trav, we're going to 2. Sorry. You send Francesca to the tanner and Luigi to the blacksmith. You have no desire to see Enzo again yourself. You'll soon have everything you need to start building the weapon. Everything, that is, except the design and the magic. You look around the workshop as the dust of the day's work floats in golden shards of fading daylight. One more day before the new era begins, whatever that new era might look like. Tomorrow, you'll start to learn who's on your side and who isn't, and you'll have to pick sides too. One more day. But tonight, you'll all smile at each other, and some of the apprentices go off to the taverns and the dice houses. You're about ready to collapse after staying up all night last night, so you stumble up to your room and into the dreams of strange machines and unnatural creatures. End of chapter 8. Wow, that chapter 8 was pretty short. Hello, Mr. Shadowman. Yep. Decisions. Chapter 9. Gods. Let's check our stats real quick. Okay. So our health is solidly 56. Could be better, could be worse. It's not bad. The workshop morale is 55%. I was hoping it would be a little bit higher, but no, it's 55 still. We have 6 soldi to our name. We are so broke. And the workshop is still dangerously low on supplies. Oh dear, oh dear. But the fresco is complete. The machine has not been begun. As for the commissions, we've finished the purse, the vault, and we are halfway through the weapon. Good luck to us. Hopefully, we can finish it. As for our magic, these stats have not changed. We are very solidly an alchemist. We dabble in animation. We're not a great soothsayer. We are very reasoned, solidly reasoned, mostly artistic and dexterous. We have confidence issues, a tiny bit of guile, and strength issues. We are adaptable, charming, cautious, full of goodwill, faith, and orderly. As for our relationships, I don't think any of these have changed. Oh, that's not true. Conrad likes us even more now. He is by far the one who loves us the best. Thank goodness for Conrad. As for our reputations, we have also gained a very healthy respect from the people. The people love us. Everybody else is meh. Ponies and a llama dragon. Oh my goodness. That sounds crazy. If you buy it, I'm sure it's fun, but check it out. Anyway, that's where we stand at the beginning of chapter 9. So, decisions. It's time to make decisions, people. Wish us luck. That's hilarious. Dragon, that is absolutely hilarious. Give me just a sec and we will start this thing. Maybe you should look into it. All right. There aren't many times when the workshop is empty. There are always urgent jobs that require someone to put in odd hours. Sometimes there's a pot of oak galls or sea snails or something else slightly nasty that requires tending, or an emblic that keeps getting clogged, or a potion that threatens to create a gaseous poison if a magician doesn't keep a stern eye on it. It's also a sad fact that many of the apprentices don't have anywhere else to go. The money they earn here is enough to keep them in room and board, just barely. But many have newly left homes and families that didn't treat them well, and they have yet to find new places to live. Florence is full of tiny convents and monasteries for the lost lambs of the city. It's also full of workshops, and the workshops can serve a similar function. On this morning, though, the last one before the day the confraternity makes its decision, the floor of the workshop is silent, the dust motes floating peacefully in the early morning shafts of pale sunlight, the wood and the stone dust. Andrea. At a table in the middle, Andrea is sitting, staring up at a statue. They're wearing spectacles, which you've never seen them do. Good morning, you say brightly from a distance so as not to startle them. They turn to you and smile. You're up early. So are you. What on earth are you wearing? I've never known you to wear spectacles before. Piero gave them to me. He says they're not magic at all, but I don't see how a bit of glass can change what I see. I like it. But I have to admit that my eyes ache after a while. Andrea takes the spectacles off and rubs the bridge of their nose. Perhaps I wasn't meant to see clearly. Ha! You see more clearly than anyone I know, with or without spectacles. May I have a look? Andrea hands you the spectacles. They're two clear lenses set in iron circles with a hinge in the middle connecting them. They're designed to pinch the nose and stay on, with a little guidance from the wearer, but you suspect they've been slipping too far down the nose. Would you like me to try to fix them to get rid of the headaches? Oh, that would be wonderful if you can, Andrea says, but I don't want to break them. They do work well otherwise. So, can we fix them with a little adjustment if we're careful? Can we adapt an animation spell we've used on scissors? Or friendship doesn't always mean fixing the other person's problems. I'll commiserate with a charm and goodwill. 1, 2, or 3. I think 1 is dexterity. 2 is animation, of which our dexterity is higher. And 3 is charm and goodwill, of which we both have a ton of. So 1, 2, or 3. Adjustment, animation, or friendship. We do have caution and dexterity. We do have adaptability, but not as good animation. Winter Fairy says 3, friendship. Friendship is magic. Dragon also says 3. We can also manage 1 if we want to be actually helpful too, but the 3s have it. apparently. So friendship is magic, it is. I wouldn't want to risk any harm to them, then. They truly are lovely and suit you so well. I'll see what I can find out about the construction of spectacles, though, and tell you if I learn anything that might help. Andrea takes them back and smiles. Thank you. I appreciate your concern. Andrea folds the spectacles up, tucking them into a pocket. Tomorrow the confraternity makes its decision, they say. You nod. I'm sure they'll choose the best person for the job. Andrea snorts. They'll choose whoever makes them the least nervous, but they should at least take the workshop's opinion into account. And what is the workshop's opinion? You hear everything that goes on here, and the apprentices stop whispering whenever I approach. Do they? Well, if they're whispering about you, that can't be good. Andrea looks at you with a wry expression. You're mocking me. Yes, but to be honest, the workshop doesn't respect you as much as it could. You nod. Thank you for your candor. We have one last chance to finish the commissions today, and perhaps I can help raise their opinion of me a little while we work. The apprentices. There's a creak on one of the staircases, and the back and front doors bang open. Apprentices come pouring into the workshop, bringing the noise and light of a Florentine morning with them. They're noisy, but not as noisy as usual. The loudest thing in the room is the unspoken awareness that this is the last day before a new era begins. Piero and Fiammetta arrive, each of them chattering intently to their teams, giving them instructions for the day. You've forgiven Fiammetta for sabotaging the fresco, but how far can you trust her? There might be a way for the three of you to carry on working as a team if you can convince the confraternity that the workshop should have 3 masters rather than 1. And if Piero and Fiammetta are willing, which would be best for you and the workshop? To be master alone or to be part of a triumvirate? Of course, whatever you choose, the confraternity might not grant it. If Piero or Fiammetta become master without you, will you stay in the workshop or go elsewhere to make your fortune? You've done excellent work this week, despite all the uncertainty, you tell your team. We should do something to mark the day. I'd like to decorate the place, Angelo says, looking around the workshop. The moss and mugwort teams come wandering over, and a few of them nod in agreement. It wouldn't take us long, working together, Stefano says. A freshly painted new sign would make the people of Florence happy. Clients complain they can't find the place, and the old sign is peeling and faded. Or you could strew garlands of fresh flowers in the Medici colors. That would impress the most powerful family in the city. The confraternity is more practical. They'd appreciate it most if you spent the time cleaning the workshop. What do we do? Do we decorate the place in the flowers in Medici colors? Do we replace the sign so that the people can find us more, our clients can find us more easily? Or with some magical help, do we just clean the place thoroughly? I mean, sure, Trav, we could absolutely alchemy up a bit of adhesive and antagonize the skin of the nose. That would be great. Seeing as I wear spectacles, I absolutely know which one. Which one would have the workshop itself happiest? Honestly, I don't think any of the 3 decisions will necessarily raise workshop reputation. One will raise Medici reputation. One will raise the people of Florence reputation. One will raise confraternity reputation. I don't think any of them raise actual workshop reputation. So it's a matter of, do we, like, our reputation with the people is already over 60%. It's pretty high. Do 55% for both the Medici and the confraternity? Which one do we want to lean into more? Is this yeah. Decorating in Medici colors means that the entire Medici family, not just our current clients of Medici, will be much, much happier with us. And they control the city. Like, if they put a good word in for us, the confraternity is probably going to decide whatever they like anyway. However, going with the confraternity they are the ones who make the decision regardless. So if we just want to purely side with the confraternity on this one, I mean, we have a little bit of rapport with both. We don't necessarily need to up our esteem with the people of Florence, because that one's already our highest reputation. Okay, Winter Fairy, we'll look forward to you coming back soon. Thank you for joining us, though, and be safe getting the mail. So, Medici, the people, confraternity, 1, 2, or 3. Looks like Trav already has said 3, the confraternity. What does the rest of chat think? I guess we're going with the confraternity since everyone got quiet. So we will clean. We will thoroughly clean. The master used to tell a story about an Egyptian magician he had known as a child many years before, who was in the habit of animating household objects and turning them into servants. He'd dress up a pestle or broom or door bar and tell it to fetch water or to tie up his mule or to cook his meals for him. The magician also had a human servant, and this servant demanded to be taught the incantation so he could do the same, but the magician would never teach him. One day, the servant overheard the magician give the order, and he memorized the incantation. Later, when the magician went out, the servant animated the broom and told it to fetch water. The broom complied, but when the servant told it to stop, it paid no attention. The broom brought bucket after bucket of water until the servant was knee-deep and desperate. The magician returned, restored the broom to its former self, removed the water, and turned the servant out of his house. For years, the master told the apprentices this story whenever anyone asked why they had to scrub the workshop floor on hands and knees or tidy up the wood shavings with a brush. It worked. You were all terrified of using animation to help with chores. Then one day, Fiammetta was sent to the home of a scholar to deliver a bottle of invisible ink. The scholar was lonely, and he used to read to the apprentices out of his books whenever they came by. You suspected he would order ink just to have someone's company for a few minutes. On this occasion, the scholar read a story written in ancient Syrian named Lucian, and lo and behold, it was the same story the master used to tell. Fiammetta was livid and refused to clean the workshop ever again. The master tried to explain to her that he thought physical labor was important for the apprentices, and so was humility, but she folded her arms and stared at him. So when you, Piero, and Fiammetta tell the apprentices that day that the day has come when they can use magic to clean the workshop, there's a moment of incredulous silence and then a cautious cheer. Nobody goes near the brooms or pestles, but damp clothes fly over the walls and tables on their own, and bars of beadwax polish the sconces, leaving everything shining and smelling fresh. The place has never been this clean, and the confraternity will be impressed. No worries, Dragon. We got it cleaned. It is now clean, and everyone's a bit happier for it, I think. The usually sunny workshop darkens suddenly, and everyone goes quiet. It's just a cloud over the sun, Piero says, but you spot something out of the corner of your eye. A shadow in one dark corner of the workshop that grows, then takes the shape of a man wearing a hat. The last thing you need is the Monticello here, frightening the apprentices, or worse, recruiting them into one of his plans. You dash into the corner and pull across one of the screens the models use for changing behind. You're now hidden from view of the rest of the workshop, and the noise behind you tells you the apprentices are beginning their celebrations of work well done, but you still speak in whispers. Why have you come? You ask. You know why, the Monticello says. The machine. I didn't build your machine. You won't be able to cull any secrets from the people of Florence. The Monticello hisses. You'll regret that choice, but it doesn't matter. I'll get my secrets. I had another magician build it for me. You're shocked, silent for a moment. Another magician? Someone you know, I think. The other magician. Fiammetta steps around the screen. You gasp. Fiammetta, I can't believe you would do this. What did you expect? Fiammetta says, frustrated. I can't be sure I have friends in this workshop, so I need to support myself. We know full well in Florence that they that control the secrets have the power. I'd rather it be me than you or Piero. You shake your head. You forgave Fiammetta for sabotaging the fresco, and now this? How many times will she betray you? So, yeah, she was up to no good. So, how do we respond to Fiammetta? We're not angry, we're just disappointed. Actually, we're also angry. You think this will bring you power, but you're wrong, or we all do what we have to survive. Dragon says angry. Disappointed and angry, actually. What does the rest of chat think? Yeah, we've been a little bit tentative on the building of it this whole time. Are we surprised that it's Fiammetta? No. How do we respond, chat? Angry and disappointed? Power but wrong? Survive? 1, 2, or 3? 2. We're pretty sure we know more about this guy than she does. She's going to get some unpleasant surprises. I agree, Trav, to be honest. The Monticello, we did not try to make friends with it, and it is a dangerous, dangerous thing. And considering that we're pretty sure a version of this machine killed our master, she's going to get real surprised real quick, which will be sad. She's actually really good at what she does. I think we're going with 2, Dragon. Sorry. I know you want to be angry, but we need to be a little bit calmer headed than that in this situation, I think. You think this will bring you power, but you're wrong. It will bring me secrets, Fiammetta says. It will bring me knowledge. There's a reason the master was working on this. There's a reason the master died. At least come and see it, she says with a pained look on her face. It's beautiful. Beyond the screen, the apprentices are getting quiet. Soon, someone will come looking for you, and you'd rather they didn't all encounter the Monticello. Let's go, you mutter. Show me, then. You follow Fiammetta out the back door to a nearby alley, and then you step into the Piazza di Santa Maria Novella. In the middle of it squats a huge construction of wood and copper. It must have somehow emerged from one of the narrow alleys that feed the piazza. The idea of such a big device moving so silently and stealthily gives you shivers. It looks like a giant spider, with long carved wooden legs reaching out in all directions. All along each leg, tiny copper spikes shine. The 2 front legs are always in motion, as if gathering or working, and all around it, skeins of mist fly in like wisps off the river in the morning. But this is no ordinary mist. It coalesces around the copper spikes and thickens into pale discs. The Monticello pulls off one of these discs and reads. How interesting. Francesca Benici has been trying to make a love spell. One of your apprentices, isn't she? Well, now you know. Let's see. There's another one here. Giovanni Romano stole a fig from the market last Tuesday. Isn't he your neighbor's brat? Whipped. You shake your head. Here's one about you, the Monticello says, plucking off another. Luca de Firenze has been secretly decoding a book belonging to their former master. Won't the apprentices love to learn that one? It's hard to see how they could trust you. It wasn't like that, you protest. It's not a secret. It's not shameful. Of course secrets are not shameful, the Monticello crows. They're the thing in the world. They feed me. They help me. Every one I learn gives me power, and I will share that power with my friends and use it against my enemies. So the question for you, Luca, is whether you are a friend or an enemy. You think quickly. You and the machine. You could let the Monticello have his way, but that means the workshop could become the Monticello's in all but name. Whether you try to undermine or destroy the machine, you won't be able to help Conrad or anyone else from the consequences, and you'll have made a real enemy of the Monticello. The machine is too big to destroy on your own, and you suspect that some of those legs and spikes are for self-defense. You'll need help, a lot of help. The apprentices could do it, but will the workshop stand with you? The people of Florence have shown before that they can create or destroy on a grand scale. All you need is something on the scale of the bonfire of the vanities. Would the people do as you ask, though? Or perhaps you could work with the Monticello, harvesting secrets and using them for power. You could lose many of your because no one will trust you, but at least you'll be powerful. You wouldn't need the respect of the confraternity or the Medici to ensure you take control of the workshop because you'll have leverage. It is better to be feared than loved, Machiavelli always says. You feel good physically. Your mind is clear and you are well rested, which makes it easier to think. It'll be a big decision. The longer you take to decide, the more angry the Monticello will become. To try and make the decision more quickly, you rely on your head, heart, or gut. I think this is the part where we rely on our head, personally. But head, heart, or gut? One, two, or three? Please tell me, chat. How will we deal with this monster of shadows and secrets? Head, heart, or gut? One, two, or three? Please, chat, please help me decide. Trav says head. Anyone else want to weigh in? We didn't build this machine, Winter Fairy. Fiametta did. She apparently has decided to build it for the Monticello, of which we've been skirting around this whole time. So, to make the decision on whether or not we destroy or work with the Monticello, do we use our head, our heart, or our gut? One, two, or three? Travis started the vote with one head. Pretty sure we don't have the support to fight it, though. We do have a fairly high reputation with the people of Florence. They might be able to help us. We do not have the reputation we need with the apprentices of the workshop, but we could just go with the Monticello and be lonely but powerful. Winter Fairy also says one. Let's rely on our head. The Monticello waits patiently. It doesn't take you too long to ponder all the factors. It comes down to what you're willing to sacrifice and how you feel about the people around you. Is individual more important than public order? Then smash the machine. Of course, the machine's power depends on people's willingness to trade on secrets and be cruel. You could try to undermine the Monticello and make the machine irrelevant rather than smashing it, by persuading Florentines to just ignore it. It's too big to do on your own, though. You'd need to work with at least two people who already know what the Monticello is and how dangerous it is. Your mother knows, if she's willing to help. Piero and Fiametta know, thanks to your conversation about it. Fiametta built the machine, but perhaps she trusts you enough to realize it was a mistake. There might be others in Florence who know about the Monticello, but you haven't learned about it if so. Or perhaps you think the machine could serve a useful purpose in Florence. Do human beings need order and transparency to be saved from and learn from their own mistakes? Then use the machine, working with the Monticello to further your own vision for how Florence ought to be. Our options are use the machine, power trumps everything. That is the selfish option. Try to work with at least two people to undermine the Monticello. Smash the machine, the people of Florence will help me, or smash the machine, the apprentices will help me. So we have 1, the selfish option, 2, the undermine option, 3, the people of Florence will smash it for me, or 4, the apprentices of the workshop will smash it for me. 4 is the least likely to work. 2 or 3 are the most likely to work. 1, I don't think we have the relationship with the Monticello to use. I honestly don't. It's true. We're on the outs with both Mom and Fiametta. Piero's the one who only slightly likes us. So, but Dangerous also slightly likes us and knows about the Monticello too. we have options on number 2. They're just not all good options. The highest that we have here is number 3. The people of Florence already like us. Yeah, we might scrape 3 all the or we could just decide to go with the Monticello and be a lonely cruel person. So, Winter Fairy has voted 3. Trav, which one would you prefer? And Dragon, feel free to weigh in as well. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Selfish, undermine, the people, or the apprentices. Dragon also says 3. So at the moment, the 3s have it. And I'm inclined to agree. This is our best bet. No, Dragon, I'm not. You've already voted 3. Quit flippy flopping. Stop it. I'm gonna smash the machine with people of Florence. I mean, if we think we can do good with it, we could use the machine. Power trumps everything. But we didn't want to run the workshop by ourselves through this whole thing. We've been like, no, we won't. We won't run it by ourselves. It'll be the 3 of us together. What are we doing, chat? I think the 3s have it. We're smashing it with the people. You walk out of the alley, casually hanging your head as though you're trying to come to terms with all this, but you have come to terms with it. And the real reason you're hanging your head is you're looking for a weapon. And there it is, a mop leaning against the workshop wall, left there after the cleaning spell. Someone probably assumed it was still animated and would put itself away. Ordinarily, you'd scold the apprentices for leaving tools out, but today you just send them a silent thanks. You take the mop and run at the machine, screaming, to me, there's danger in our midst," or "Arg," or "For Florence." What is our battle cry, guys? 1, 2, or 3? Danger, arg, or Florence? Trav says 3 for Florence. Winter Fairy says 3, as does Dragon. We yell it. Full on Leroy Jenkins, yes, for Florence. You bury your makeshift weapon deep into the sphere at the heart of the thing, and it splits with a sound like a scream, but the legs keep moving. Hearing your cries, a crowd gathers, and they pick up bits of stone, broken brick, charcoal. Before you know it, they're all throwing things at the machine. Small things, but many of them. The great arms wave and flail, and a mist comes up from the river. It's thick and white, but smells like poison, and it makes you choke. Suddenly, you find that you know things about the people besides you. Enzo the blacksmith once stole a slingshot from a windowsill, and he was so ashamed that he burned it. Guillermo, the haberdasher, forgave his wife, Amalinda, years ago for an affair she doesn't know he knows about. You shake your head and cover your face with your collar. The people have paused, looking around suspiciously at each other. You're not the only one who suddenly knows things you shouldn't. You have mere moments to say something that will bring them back to your side. However, whatever you say will have to ring true to your character, or they'll know you're being insincere. Here, today, for this one moment, there are no secrets in Florence. Keep throwing, we're almost done, you yell. So, do we yell, I know it has to be done? Do we yell, I know that the people are more powerful than any force? Help me change this, please. This is a strange new challenge and we can adapt to meet it. Or we have to keep at it. Don't let anything distract you. 1, 2, 3, or 4. No, powerful, change, distract. How do we keep the people of Florence destroying the machines so that it cannot harm Florence ever again? We have Leroy Jenkins Darway in here, guys. How are we going to keep the people on our side? 1, 2, 3, or 4. No, powerful, change, or distract. I'll take a number or a keyword. 'Tis up to you which you put in chat. Uh, you know what? I don't know. Let's find out. I don't have them all memorized. So, stubbornness is the opposite of adaptability. I'm pretty sure they're all trait options. I'm not entirely certain which one is what. Um, we're big on faith and charm. I'm not even sure faith and charm is a thing. 1 order, 2 democracy, 3 adaptability, 4 stubborn. Okay. So if you are correct, then number 1 has a low chance of winning. Number 2, not so much. Number 3 has a higher chance of winning, and number 4, not so much. So 3 is our best chance. I would agree. The three is our best chance, but we don't necessarily have to pick it. We can just fail and see how terribly it goes for us. But I'm assuming Trav is going to go with 3 because it is our best chance. Winter Fairy agrees. So it looks like the 3s have it, unless somebody has a convincing argument for a different setup. Looks like the 3s have it. Help me change this, please. This is a strange new challenge, but we can adapt to meet it. A few people near you nod, and one puts a hand on your back in a comradely sort of way. Keep at it, someone yells, but several people near you still look uncertain. All right, nothing great was ever done without bold action. Father in heaven, bless our work here today, or kill it with kindness, loving that wants to sow hate. This one is easier. One of it is boldness, one of it is faith, and one of it is goodwill. And I believe faith is our highest one. So, I mean, I think we went caution. So number 1 is our lowest, and we do have goodwill, but faith is higher. The 2s have it. 1, 2, or 3, boldness, faith, or goodwill, and everyone's voting 2. So I guess we're going with faith. Father in heaven, bless our work here today. Many people cross themselves and look upwards, and others nod at you approvingly. They're on your side, against the machine. Whew. We have gotten an achievement. Good job, chat. You stare at the heart of the machine, or perhaps it's the brain, the wooden orb that seems to hum and draw the world's secrets towards it. There's a bit of wood lying in the side of the street, the spoke of a cartwheel or something like that. It has a good heft in your hand, and you smash it on the nearest leg of the machine. But the wood splinters in your hand, and you dodge as the legs lift off the cobble and waves in the air over your head. The weird fog is making it hard to breathe, and you lean on your thighs to try and catch your breath. The mist is so thick you can barely see the spikes of one of the machine's limbs as it lunges over your head and then groans to a stop. You realize suddenly that you've been hearing a whirring noise since the machine started up, and that noise has ceased. People throw a few more things, but the mist is already clearing, and you can see raw egg dripping down the side of the central gearbox. It looks pathetic now, broken and filthy. You stand, damp and beraggled from the effort, but from the clinging mist. You stare at the Monticello. He's silent, seething, but you can tell that he has no more power here. His power is in secrets, and in its efforts to defend itself, the machine lay bare the heart of everyone in the piazza. And the people decided they didn't care. They didn't want to pry. They are willing to love and to forget and to forgive. What can the Monticello do now? Nothing, and he knows it. You're banished, you say hoarsely, loudly so everyone can hear. Go back to Naples if you like. Go to France. Go to Rome. Go into the ocean. I don't care, but you can't stay within these walls. Who are you to speak for Florence? The creature whispers. How do we respond? I am a citizen of Florence and therefore have no more or less right than anyone else. I am someone who refuses to be moved, or I am someone who loves the world and refuses to stand by while you harm people. I believe 1 is democracy, 2 is stubbornness, and 3 is goodwill. I do not believe we have enough for 1 or 2. So the 3s have it. We are someone who loves the world and refuses to stand by while this thing harms people. Your voice catches just a little as you are aware of people around you watching and listening. It isn't easy to banish him. Perhaps it's because he's grown suspicious of you lately and is on his guard. Around you, people shift nervously, watching and waiting. The Monticello says something more, some small sound, the final whimper of a monster who knows he's been beaten. Night is coming on and painting the city with long black fingers. A shadow creeps from the nearby wall, and the Monticello stands within it for a moment and then is gone. The only sign he was ever here is a large round hat on the cobblestones. And of course, the great machine, now broken and sagging. Its copper spikes never even got the chance to develop verdigris. One by one, people start dismantling it, taking bits of copper and wood away, piece by piece. The machine won't trouble this city again. You turn to see Piero and Fiammetta standing behind you. When I mentioned the Monticello, you say, we're looking for him. I'd seen him just as you had, Fiammetta says. There's a clatter on the cobbles as people run carts back and forth collecting detritus. We have to destroy the master's notebook, you say. I hate to think of any of the master's work being destroyed, Piero says, but I have to agree with Luca here. It's over now, you say. All that matters now is to destroy it and move on. How do you feel about Fiammetta now? Do we have to admire her ambition and boldness? We all make our choices and we make no judgment on Fiammetta, or do we feel disgusted and will never work with her again? To be fair, to be quite fair to her, she has always disliked the fact that the master kept secrets, especially from the top 3 apprentices. And if he hadn't so many secrets, we could have had most of these commissions done way before now. Like, the fact that we didn't know about them caused problems. Will continue to have repercussions in the future. And she's not wrong about that. If he had trusted a little bit more, maybe not himself, but if he had trusted a little bit more, none of what has happened to us in the last week to 2 weeks would have happened. These deadlines at Michaelmas would not be a problem. Unfortunately, the master kept too many secrets. She is ambitious and bold, and so are the rest of us at the workshop, really. So admiring her for that is akin to admiring ourselves in many ways. But yeah, she was afraid, and she made a choice. Like, should we really judge her for the choices that she made, considering what she knew and how she is? Like, I honestly believe that 2 is the way to go here. As much as she doesn't like us very much, I don't actually think that she's ever been so awful and caustic to us that we should necessarily be angry with her or disgusted. She made choices, we made choices, everybody made choices, and this is where we ended up. So I'm going to agree with 2, but the rest of chat can definitely weigh in on this if they would like. One, 2, or 3, admire, no judgment, or disgusted. Anybody else want to weigh in? Or is it just me and Trav in this moment? 2 it is. We all make our choices. I make no judgment on Fiammetta. Fiametta glances at you as if looking for approval or disapproval, but you just look back impassively. You don't like the machine, but you can't fault anyone for trying to get ahead in Florence. You feel a hand at your elbow and see Andrea looking concerned. Is everything all right? They ask, gazing up at the broken hulk of the machine and at the detritus strewn about and the celebrating people. It is now. They slip an arm through yours. I'm glad to be your friend, they say, whatever happens now. That sounds ominous, you say with a nervous chuckle. Things will change, whether for good or bad, after the confraternity makes its decision, the model says. Our paths might diverge, but you can always find me. Just look up at the nearest painting. You smile, and you and Andrea walk back to the workshop. The apprentices decide. In the workshop, you find apprentices milling about, restless after the excitement and uncertainty in the piazza. Francesca grabs a hold of a pillar and swings up to stand on top of a work table. Everyone, listen, she says, but there's too much noise. You step forward, hoping that your presence will quiet them down and remind them of your leadership qualities. So, does our confidence give us control over the room? Does our eccentricity keep the apprentices always aware of what are doing? Or do we believe in order and order believes in us? Confidence, 45%. Eccentricity, less than 45%. We went all in on charm. Order, 66%, I believe. I could double check, but I'm pretty sure that in this choice, order's the one that will succeed. And Winter Fairy has already voted for 3. So 1, 2, or 3, confidence, eccentricity, or order. But this drought of loud voice will help me too. Yeah, no kidding. We should definitely throw our alchemy in the midst, but unfortunately, it's just order. Order, I believe in order, and order believes in me. You cough expectantly, but no one notices. Hey, yells Giacomo, his voice booming with a touch of animation spell. The place goes quiet, and he gestures to Francesca to continue. Well, that didn't work. Whoopsies. She nods and thanks and carries on. Tomorrow, the confraternity will assign a new master for the workshop. It will make its own decisions for its own reasons, but it will consider the wishes of the workshop. So we need to decide now what those wishes are so we can speak with one voice. When have the apprentices of this workshop ever spoken with one voice? Says Ignacio, half jokingly. But as if to prove his point, the apprentices all speak at once. You and Piero and Fiametta glance at each other. This is for the apprentices to settle amongst themselves. At last, Francesca succeeds in getting something close enough to silence that she can call for a vote. The vote. Of the 36 apprentices, assistants, models, and other workers, you get 8 votes. Piero and Fiametta get 14 votes each. You have the least amount of support, but there's no clear winner between Piero. If you can convince Piero or Fiametta or both to put themselves forward in partnership with you, you could gain more support. No matter what you choose, the confraternity will still have to make its decision. If you can work with both of them, you can get full support from the apprentices. Working with one of them will get you a little more support. Have you shown yourself a collaborator over the last little while? If so, you might be able to make your case. You've been open to the idea of working as a team during this interim phase, but what about the future? Do we ask Piero to be our partner and co-master of the workshop? Do we ask Fiametta to be partner and co-master? Do we ask to be co-masters and will be a triumvirate? Or will we be master alone if the confraternity? Up until now, 3 has been our go-to. We've been in it together since the beginning. However, we don't have enough relationship with any of them, of either of them, to really go things to 1, 2, 3, 4, Piero, Fiametta, or us alone. What do you think, chat? How are we going to deal with this? Trav votes 3. Not sure what they did, but we did commissions and the fresco. If they helped, we'd have had a lot more opportunity to work together. It looks like they spent their time chatting to the apprentices. No, actually, they did other tasks. So we were every single one of them had other things going on. It's just they did not work on the commissions like we did. They had other projects that they were working on. It was mentioned what they were working on. I don't remember what, but there was definitely some other things going on that they were taking care of. The fact that we ended up with all of the secret commissions is, you know, the plot of the story is just kind of how that works out. But they were busy as well. It's not that they were just hanging out with the other apprentices. They all had their own teams. They all had their own work. Everybody was busy. Winter Fairy has just started the vote with we should be in charge. Just us. Yeah, no, I agree, Trav. But we could have gotten probably all 5 done if everyone had taken some. But there was other work that the workshop was in charge of. So each team worked on whatever it was. We just happened to be the commissions team. That's how it worked out. Yeah. It could have been that the other projects, seeing as they were not secret, were already in the works. We don't know. Like I don't remember the earlier chapters well enough because it was kind of mentioned in passing in earlier chapters. But yeah, it's whatever. So we have a vote for 3 to be a. We have a vote for 4. Dragon, do you want to weigh in? Are you still about, or did you go a lurking? Which is fine if you did. I guess it's mine. We do not have any at all. We do not have the stats for any of this relationship wise. So I'm just gonna try and let's triumvirate it and hope. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm cross your fingers, let's hope. You've shown that you can work together over the last few days. Even though Fiammetta doesn't like you much, you get along well enough when it comes to business. You pull Piero and Fiammetta aside. You have more votes than I do, but I have some factors in my favor. Let's tell the confraternity we want to be co-masters together. Piero looks skeptical, and Fiammetta strokes her chin. What factors would those be? Fiammetta asks. Do we say that we have Machiavelli advising us? Do we say that I've always been best at alchemy, I'll keep that skill sharp, or I've got quite a bit of money set aside, useful capital? Well, we do not have the money. We do have Machiavelli. I mean, granted, he's only a bit fond of us more than anything else, but he is a family friend. And we do have the best alchemy out of the 3 of them. Very early on, it was we have the best alchemy, Piero has the best animation, and Fiammetta has the best soothsaying. So, Winter Fairy says 1. She started the vote out. Trav says not 3. I agree. 3 would be terrible. Winter Fairy, oh, come on, Winter Fairy, 1 or 2, pick one. Trav says 2. Our Machiavelli relationship isn't great. If it was higher, it'd be worth it, but since he's currently exiled, that might count against us. Okay, everyone's kind of all in on 2 now. We are the best alchemist. Alchemy is our thing. Please keep us. Piero nods. That's a good point. You're still better than anyone here at alchemy. Thank you, you say with no false modesty. All right, says Fiammetta. We'll tell the confraternity that instead of choosing one candidate, they can choose all of us. You turn to the apprentices. We've heard your voices. I know that I can serve the workshop, but I would not try to do so alone. I'll ask to be made master only in partnership with Fiammetta and Piero. The apprentices look at each other, momentarily surprised, and then applaud. You've gained their full support. The confraternity will take that into account tomorrow. The confraternity will take into account the machinations of the Medici family, your reputation in Florence at large, and their own internal assessment of your work, in addition to the feeling in the workshop. They'll also consider whether you've made your clients happy. First thing in the morning, you'll face Henrique of Congo, Alfonsina Orsini, Judah Abravanel, Dangereux Clement, and Lucrezia de Medici, and some of them will be disappointed. Yikes. Sweet dreams. Just as you're about to go to sleep, you hear someone rapping on your door. It's Conrad, slightly out of breath. What is it? Well, don't forget you have friends, Conrad says. Me, for example? Friends, lovers, or something else? This is a chance to let Conrad decide how you feel. Are you interested in a physical relationship? Are you falling in love? So, it's always been you, Conrad, and only you. I want other people in my life too, but Conrad, I want you, or I'm clear about what we are to each other. Good friends. Winter Fairy says one and only one. Yeah, I guess we don't get to finish the weapon. Or we might be able to get to finish the weapon very early in the morning. I'm not entirely certain. Oh dear. It's been a bit of a trying time. I'm staying out of this, so it's one. But what about Dangerous Clement? Oh my gosh. You guys are funny. Well, I guess we're going. It's been you, Conrad, and you. We're good friends, but is there really anything between us of that kind? Conrad asks. I don't think it's a good idea to risk our friendship by confusing it with something that isn't. What do you think? Conrad knows you better than almost anyone else. He will know if you say something that isn't perfectly sincere. We've uh we're made to be together. Neither of us can stand anyone else. You've made me a better person. I like the world because it has you in it, or I believe that God keeps bringing us together for a reason. What do we say to our dear Conrad to make him understand that we are sincere? She's why I'm staying out of this. Winter Fairy says 3. We believe that God keeps bringing us together for a reason. We high faith. All right, we will try the faith route. Not sure what the other two are tagged to be honest. God doesn't bring us together. The streets of Florence brings us together. A person can't avoid anyone here. I saw the fishmonger 3 times yesterday in 3 different neighborhoods. I am not the fishmonger. No, but you're just as smelly, Conrad teases, elbowing you. Do you really think there's any design behind all this, behind you and me? I do. You don't have to. And maybe I'm wrong, but it feels like, but I feel you like a North Star, leading me like a compass needle. I don't know whether that's God or something else, but it's the strongest force I know. Conrad looks at you seriously. All right, I can't argue with the stars. You take Conrad's hand. So we are agreed. And it is late. Should I go? Do we ask Conrad to stay the night in our bed? The spicy option. Do we kiss Conrad goodnight? The less spicy option. Or do we take Conrad's hand and then say goodnight? The polite option. Winter Fairy is like all in. Let's do the spicy option. The spicy, the sweet, or I should say the spicy, the flirty, or the sweet. 1, 2, or 3. Flirty, sweet. We already have a vote for 1. What's it gonna be, chat? The ones have it. Okay, then. We ask Conrad to stay the night in our bed. By the light of your enchanted candle, you trace each other's bodies as though they were new to you and get no sleep at all. End of chapter. So, whew, we have defeated the Monticello. We have defeated the machine. And, well, let's see where we stand. Our health, pretty decent, 56%. The workshop morale, 55. We have 6 soldi to our name at the moment, and the workshop is still dangerously low on supplies, but no worse off than it was a week ago. We have completed the fresco. We did not work on the machine, and we've broken it as well. We have finished the purse, the vault, but we have only made some progress on the weapon. We are the highest in alchemy, dabbling in animation, soothsaying, yay. We're reasoned, artistic, dexterous, not so confident, tiny bit guiled, and not so strength. We're adaptable, very charming, a little bit cautious, with a very solid goodwill, faith, and, well, we're still somewhat ordered. Somewhat. As for our relationship, Piero, still a bit fond. Fiammetta actually doesn't like us, but she's not dangerously disliking us. Andrea is now a bit fond of us. Mom, still mad, a little bit. Giovanni de Medici solidly likes us. Niccolo Machiavelli, still a bit fond, as is Dangerous Clement, because we've been flirting with her like a lot. For whatever reason, we're still neutral with the Monticello. We defeated it, but it still doesn't hate us. Okay, we'll take it. Conrad, absolutely in love. It's our boy. It's our man's. It's our boyfriend. It's our lover. Alfonsina Orsini does not like us. Not so much that she's out for our head, but we're probably not going to make friends with her tomorrow. Lucrezia de Medici likes us, a bit fun. She's gonna be much happier tomorrow. Henrique of the Congo, neutral. That's not gonna last for very long. Judah Leon Abravanel, slightly fond. That's not gonna last for very long either. We have a tiny bit of respect from the Medici, an almost decent amount of respect from the confraternity. The people love us. Well, love is perhaps. The people like us, solidly like us. Love is a little bit, if it was higher. The workshop, they don't terribly like us. They don't terribly dislike us either. They're still fairly neutral on it. They'll accept us as being someone in charge ish. That's where we stand at the end of these two chapters. We did get an achievement. We banished the Monticello and rid Florence of a monster and his creation. So good job, chat. We did defeat a bad guy. We've done it. But this is all for my stream today. We got through two chapters. We got through chapter 8 and chapter 9. So we will start off tomorrow, which is Tuesday, with chapter 10, Rebirths. We will start off in Michaelmas, the 29th day of December. It's gonna be wild. We don't know if we will become one of the masters of the workshop. We don't know what's gonna happen next, but this is the end of stream for me today. I hope everyone had fun. I also hope that everyone comes back tomorrow to see how this story ends. It's taken us over a week to finish this one. Whew, it's been crazy. So take care, everyone, and I will hopefully see all of you tomorrow. Ooh, let's see who we can raid. Raiding. Who can we raid? I don't have anyone to raid today. Unfortunately, nobody that I follow is streaming at the moment, so we will not be raiding today, but we will see if we can raid tomorrow. So take care, everyone, and